Hello, hello, it's Claire Berry here. No hat today, but it is still me. I'm going to talk with you guys a little bit about my sort of transformation that's going on here. And I want to give you kind of a background about me, for those of you who know me and for those of you who don't, about, my food and how I've been eating for my whole entire life and where I'm going to start eating and why I'm doing this and why I think that you should join me. So, basically, I've been born and raised in the Midwest. As you can imagine, there's a lot of meat eaters here. My family was full of meat eaters. In fact, I rarely even knew any vegetarians at all. So it's just kind of, second nature to me to accept meat eating as normal and healthy. So, even throughout high school, I was big on red meat. It was kind of one of those things. I'm kind of an anti person. If everybody's going one way, I won't want to go that way. So at that point, everybody was going, into chicken and turkey, and I'm like, ooh, I want my red meat. Like, I gotta have iron, blah blah blah. So I'm all sitting over there chowing down on red meat, and that is funny. It lasted until about the time that I moved out of the house. Once I moved out of the house, I realized I don't like meat as much as I thought I did. I didn't like to have to prepare it. Raw meat just grossed me out. Especially even like eating anything with a bone, like ribs or chicken with a bone, that was really the only time it just sort of grossed me out. So that was my first inclination. And that was coming from the inside. But on the outside, in addition to all of these just society, everybody eats meat, everybody's doing it. In addition to that, I, became very health-minded about the time, I started having kids and researching about that. We were eating all organic, and in fact, my baby daddy's dad is a chiropractor, and was very much into like Weston A. Price eating, Weston A. Price Foundation. And back then, I just honestly took what he said as fact. I did not do my own research because, hell, he was a chiropractor. Here I was just some little punk kid, what do I know? He obviously knows more than me, right? So I take his word for it. And he's telling us, here, drink this raw milk, I didn't ever give any to my babies or anything like that. But, we would eat meat, and Weston A. Price says eat meat liberally. So we were eating meat, it's all... Pour that olive oil on everything and all of that. Stay healthy. That's how I was. Even though I sort of had that internal, voice that was saying, it's not that great. So basically what happened is, I ended up leaving the baby daddy, a few years later, 5-10 years later, here I am. And, it's me and the boys. And I get to choose how I want to eat and how I want my kids to eat. So I just sort of naturally started cutting down the meat. Couldn't even afford organic chicken, so, and that I think was the main issue at first. It's all the antibiotics and everything builds up in the tissue and all that. So just wanted to be healthy, so, switched to eating salmon, and, if we couldn't get the good organic chicken, we'd go ahead and buy some corn, vegetarian, chicken and stuff like that. And, did that for a while and just sort of just kept going with that until this year, about April, I realized, we watched Vegucated with the boys on Netflix. We sat down, watched it one night, just kind of out of the blue, and I realized that night, that if I was going to try to claim that I was any kind of environmentalist, that I had to go vegetarian. I was, on my Facebook page, posting, you shouldn't be traveling in an airplane, how bad that is for the environment, all this other stuff. Like, don't even buy new cars, because even though they're less, I was really getting into the environmentalism. And I just all of a sudden realized I'm a total hypocrite if I eat meat and, try to do anything for the environment or tell anybody else to do anything for the environment. So right away I decided I'm going to go vegetarian. And even instead of saying vegetarian, I really didn't want to put limits on it. I'm very big on like intuitive eating, so I wanted to give my body that freedom because I hadn't really looked into the health issues, the health side of it yet. So I said, okay, if my body really wants meat, maybe I'll eat some. But the fact that I'm not eating it every day is going to be better for the environment, so let's do that. And I told the boys, if you want to eat meat, that's fine. I don't care. You can eat it at school. You can eat it at your grandma's house. But I'm not going to buy it because I'm not going to support that industry. So that's sort of I lost a few pounds. I felt really great. Still taking some like supplements. And it actually wasn't until one of my friends had posted the vegetarian tour of the Weston A. Price Foundation site on my Facebook page. And I was kind of like, I'm going vegetarian. Like, that's kind of rude. Like, why are you, and I just told myself, well, they're just worried about me and they just, want the best. So I decided that, I had to look into these claims. I thought she was very well educated on the matter and knew what she was talking about. And I said, oh my God, maybe I'm messing up my health. I don't want to mess up my kids' health just for the environment. Like, I'm sorry, but I got my priorities and, my kids are number one. So I started to look into it. And really, I just went down the whole Weston A. Price page and I started researching. I tried to get Weston A. Price people to talk to me about it. My friends did not want to talk to me about it. In fact, I had some friends that completely, wrote me off because basically I had a differing opinion. Rocky, go lay down. Go lie down. Oh, good dog. Good dog. Sorry, got a new pup. Anyways, where was I? I started to research and I started to realize, over the course of months and months and months. I started this research in April of 2013. It is now December. I'm done with my Weston A. Price Foundation research. I have completely convinced myself. And yes, I was objective because if you know me, you should know that I'm a truth seeker above all. I'm not a vegetarian above all. I'm a truth seeker above all. So I wanted to know if I was jeopardizing my family's health by my decisions. Yeah, I was ready to change. And I would have, I made a couple videos and stuff, but I would have eaten, a steak on the spot in front of everybody if I had been proved wrong. But, even though nobody was dialoguing with me, nobody was giving me their sources on why they believe Weston A. Price, because I'm like, God, if you go to their site, you can't find any good links. Anyway, besides that, I finally realized, as I got more and more into the Weston A. Price research, I realized that all animal products are bad. It's not just meat. If you would have asked me a year ago if I would have given up my eggs, I thought eggs were the biggest health food. Oh my goodness. And even like kefir was something I always used to tell myself, I could never go vegan. I would never go vegan because of yogurt and kefir. And don't you need those great probiotics and blah, blah, blah. So slowly I'm letting go of those. And I never planned, like I said, I was flexitarian. Never even planned on going vegetarian, much less vegan. But over the course of, 8 months or whatever, I just realized that that's where it's at. So here I am, giving up my eggs. Still, I'm considering myself a flexitarian because, this fall, I had stopped splurging, like, any chance I got, like, out getting pizza or whatever. But, if I was undercarbed, if I was just seriously lacking on calories that day, or if I was just somewhere that I didn't have anything else to eat, then yeah, I gotta say I splurged. I had an Arby's sandwich one day at a basketball tournament because we were there all day and I didn't have anything else. I can't say I've been fully vegan or even vegetarian for so long, but overall, I'd been vegetarian most of the year. About fall time, and I dropped a couple of pounds on vegetarianism, and then you'll see when I go to veganism, it's just like, and even vegetarianism, once I went vegetarian and I lost even just a couple pounds, like, those couple pounds felt like a lot more because I felt really amazing in my own skin, which I really can't say that I felt that way ever since I was like, a young child of like 7. I started feeling at a very young age, very uncomfortable with the extra, stuff that's, even I remember at basketball practice, just like the extra, when you bend your knee, the stuff that pops out there, it's fat, because I wasn't the skinniest girl, and it's, it's sexy. You want to be that lean, skinny girl. So there was always that in my mind. I just never felt right. And ever since I went vegetarian, I felt, pretty good in my own skin. And I gotta say, when I first went vegetarian, I didn't feel amazing. I did go through a period of detox. I smelled like eggs for about 3 days. I had some diarrhea for a few days, and after that, and I had acne for a few days. And after that, it all evened out. My weight, like I said, dropped a little bit, but then it's pretty much plateaued. I was doing a lot of, even though it was all whole grains, mostly, I was still doing a lot of grains. And, I was sort of struggling with that a lot because that was one of the things that, Weston A. Price and people who are in the know about grains and, grain brains out and all that stuff. It's just like, quinoa is great and everything, but there's still just that wheat is so easy and it's so great. And even though most of the wheat we were doing is like Ezekiel brand sprouted, bread, I could definitely tell the difference when I ate regular grains versus sprouted grains. So there was that. But regardless, somehow, I don't know, I had already been introduced to Freely the Banana Girl and Durian Rider through my Weston A. Price research. Actually, I found one of Harley or Durian Rider's pages, videos that he had posted specifically about Weston A. Price. That's the first video I ever saw of them. I would say about 6 months ago, I probably saw some of Banana Girl's videos, and I was just like, oh, that's too extreme for me. Like, that can't be healthy. Like, she's just some crazy girl, Sorry, really. But that's how I thought, because I had always heard these myths, about, especially vegans. Oh, God, they're just so sickly and tiny and skinny and weak, and, don't go that way. You'll totally jeopardize your health. Gotta have a little bit of, meat products or whatever. But, so anyway, I don't know how I came back to it, but I started watching a ton of Freely's videos, and even as I'm watching them, I have all these, skepticisms in my head, like, what about the protein? What about the EFAs? What about this? What about that? And I told my father-in-law, which I'm proud to say he's fully supporting me in my raw veganism at this point, despite his old beliefs, which is amazing. It's great. I feel great. I'm, exercising more than I ever have been. I have more energy than I ever have. In fact, it's almost like too much energy, And I just have to say that I can't believe that I didn't put 2 and 2 together. Being a so-called intuitive eater, I'm just amazed at how easy it is to go to this diet. You don't starve yourself. Even my kids, if I was really into intuitive eating, I would have listened to them, and I would have been giving them a huge variety of fruits. I would have been giving them as much fruit as they want, because that's what they want to eat. It's incredible how I can just, I'll talk more about the diet and the reasons why I like the diet and all of that later, but I just want to say that fruit is where it's at. And if you ask me about protein, I'm just going to straight up say, do you know how much protein is in fruit? Because I do. So until you know how much protein is in fruit, then don't, knock any raw vegans or fruitarians, because honestly, this is where it's at. I'm completely convinced, completely obsessed. I'm gonna start posting about it because I am sure about myself now. I wasn't gonna post until I knew for sure that what I was saying was the truth. Now that I do, I'm just so freaking excited. I'm ready to get this holiday season underway so that I can just go buy myself. I'm so excited. Like, last week was our first week where we actually got our door-to-door organics box with completely fruits and veggies. And like I said, my kids are loving it. They're so excited. They've always loved fruits. And, just everything that we've been told about fruit and diet is just bullshit. Like, seriously, do your own research. Look it up. Don't listen to all of those people, that you've heard that have told you things. Honestly, if I could say one thing, do your own research. Don't listen to any one study, because honestly, when they look at these studies, they're not just skewing the studies. they're doing the studies on what they want to. All of these colleges are funded by the elite. It's true. I don't care if it's a state-run college. They've got Rockefellers. They've got everybody. It's all a hoax. And honestly, if you believe Weston A. Price, then honestly, the people that I know that believe Weston A. Price are very anti-mainstream. And that's great. But you have to pay attention to how much is so similar from Weston A. Price to mainstream. Honestly, it's not a lot of difference. And a lot of the studies that Weston A. Price point to are the same type of studies. They're the same colleges. They're the same bullshit that the standard American people are talking about. So, and another thing just about Weston A. Price, you can go on the internet and try to find the sources that, back Weston A. Price up. You may find a few very controversial studies. The only studies that I found that back Weston A. Price up, scholarly studies, scholarly articles, have very, 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 very controversial affiliations. So if you are somebody that's believing all this hype about saturated fat being good for you and all that nonsense, please, I beg of you, while obesity and heart disease and cancer are like 3 of the number 1 problems we have in the United States, please do your own research and don't just, even if it's a scholarly study, doesn't mean anything. Look at the affiliations. Don't just take this website's word for it. I can't find anybody on the internet who's following Weston A. Price who hasn't completely copy and pasted everything they said. And if I ask them about it, did you actually check out that link? Did you actually check out that website? No, they didn't. They get defensive and they don't want to talk about it. And I have a feeling that has to do with the addiction in their bodies. And I'm not just saying people get addicted to, meat and get addicted to any way of eating, really. It's how our bodies are. So do your own research. Don't listen to anybody just because you think they're smarter than you. Listen to your own intuition and don't be afraid of trying new things because this world is messed up and we need people that are willing to go out on a limb, willing to look like idiots, willing to, put themselves out there and be critiqued and to join in discussion. That's another thing. If you're going to take a controversial stand, if you're going to put it out there that that's who you are, then be willing to discuss it, be willing to talk about it. And if you're not going to do that, then, nobody's going to take you seriously anyway. So I just want to be completely transparent about what I'm doing. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. I'm all about spreading the truth, like I said, and I want people to know because I strongly believe in this at this point. So I'm really excited. I'm going to be all over 30 bananas a day. Banana girl. I'm a banana girl, even though I'm Claire Berry. I love my berries, but yeah, bananas are freaking awesome. And I'm totally obsessed with Freely and Harley. I just have to say that. If I can find me a Harley, if you're out there, I'm just going to throw that out there. So I'm going to keep you guys updated. I'm going to keep on doing videos and let you guys know. Oh, one of the things I forgot to throw in here, just in this past week of kind of experimenting around with more raw foods and everything, like I said, my kids love it. They are ecstatic, and I am too. One of the things that I've been doing is berries, and I don't have it right here, it's not with me, but I have a blender ball with the shaker and everything like that. And shoot, you don't even need the shaker, but you got to get enough water, you got to get enough fruit, and I've been having really good success with just pouring a bag of frozen fruits into the water and drinking it. And I'm not fully sure how the flash freeze process, if you guys can help me out with that. I still have a lot of research to do. I'm not sure how frozen, if that's completely raw or not, but for now I think it's a good medium for me. It's easy, it's fast. I know I'm getting my EFAs again, which was a big concern for me. Everybody in my life is very concerned about the good fats. You got to get the good fats, and that's one reason I've always been like, high fat's great. But no, you don't need. I watched a great video today, a very educated woman telling us she gets like her barely 5 to 7% of her calories from fat, but she still gets probably 2 or maybe more grams of the omega-3s. So for those of you worried about that, it's definitely possible. And anyways, the berries in the blender bowl, just mix the berries, especially raspberries. I mean, the best tasting stuff. You get everything you need right there. And also the other thing that I've been doing, raspberries have kind of always been a big favorite of mine. Raspberry lemonade, those of you who know me. But basically the other thing that I just sort of realized, and I have a picture of it somewhere, but bowl of raspberries, I let them melt a bit so they're not totally frozen. Just put some peanut butter on the side. I mean, you have peanut butter and jelly, which is funny because, again, the way our minds work, we're so used to doing a certain thing. We're so used to doing what everybody else does, what we've been taught. We don't think about the fact that, okay, well, peanut butter and jelly is good, but do you ever think on any other meal, do you ever think of mixing your nuts with your fruits? I guess during a Sunday you might or something, but I just never thought of it. I thought it was a big revelation for me that I could just take some peanut butter in a bowl, and eat it with the raspberries. Do you need that bread to push it all together? Do you need the jelly? No. Just get the raspberries, just get the peanut butter. That's all you need. So that's my first recipe that I've stumbled upon. Just peanut butter and raspberries and water and raspberries. But it's another thing that I love. I'm so excited because this is a sexy way to eat. It's a fun way to eat, and it's freaking tasty, but it's also easy. I mean, I run a business. I work 12 hours a day. I've got 2 children. I'm a single mom. Not only that, I'm a full-time single mom. I'm lucky if I get a day and a half off every other week. That's on a good season. So very, very busy person. And I used to like cooking, but right now I'm just so totally psyched that I don't really have to cook anymore unless I want to. It's liberating and it's amazing. So please join me. I have a 80-10-10 raw vegan Kansas City website, Facebook that I just kind of started. There's really nobody on there yet, but hopefully we can get a little community going because it's really lonely being a raw vegan in Kansas City. So hopefully I can find some people that are like-minded or that will become like-minded. And I got some really good news today that my little sis is thinking about maybe going towards the vegan side too, which is great because she was arguing with me about saturated fats a year ago. So, or less than a year ago actually. I guess that couldn't have been a year ago. But anyways, join the discussion. If you even are watching this, you probably made it this far, you're probably really into it. But if you are watching this and you haven't decided that this is what you want, just stick around, pay attention, watch my progress, find me on Map My Hike because my workout, I've never worked out this much in my life. I've never been this fit in my life. I've never felt this good about myself. I've never felt this how do I say, just smart on the inside, and emotionally secure, and healthy as well. It's a holistic thing. So thank you for, sticking with me if you watched this whole 24-minute video, and I hope to see you guys around. And don't forget to eat your fruit.